like this is actually one of the first times that we've seen investors push back against that gig model. And here it was on the grounds of it not aligning with responsible investing practices. We really haven't seen that here in the United States. I wonder, do you think this is the start of something? Will investors here start to recognize and perhaps punish some of the gig economy models that are being used so prevalently here?
Oh, I think absolutely. John asked, where are those fees coming from? How do people expect to get these services for cheap? Do you know who was subsidizing those fees for years? Investors and venture capitalists. They were all running these businesses at a loss. And the end of the model was to achieve a monopoly position in various markets and then raise prices. It was clear as day for almost every gig economy company you can think of, starting with Uber. That has changed radically. They didn't necessarily achieve those monopoly positions. Every price increase has been fought by consumers and asked for by the actual workers. And I think there's a reckoning here in exactly how these companies are going to grow in scale when they are dependent in a real way on actual people doing the work when you push the button. And that, I think, is one of those big philosophical shifts. It's obviously a policy shift. We're seeing politicians in this country come after Amazon in a policy shift. And I think it is also just a very real shift for the people actually doing the gig work.
Right. But, many do argue that investors are worried about the bottom line. If you switch to an economy model, some of these gig economy companies, the unit economics, they don't even make any sense. So what is the incentive there? We've also seen a precedent in California with Prop 22. Drivers themselves, consumers voted not to go ahead with that model and keep that independent contractor model. So what is it? Is this Deliveroo IPO a moment here, or what really gets investors to wake up if it's, if the costs make more sense going the old route or the, gig worker route?
Yeah, I would point at the differences in regulation between Europe and the United States right now. So Deliveroo in Europe, in the UK, they have moved to a model where there's some gradation between just being a freelance gig worker and a full-on employee. You get some benefits, but you're not held to the same status as a full-on employee. In the United States, it's pretty binary. I think as we come to more political action, as we come to more activism from workers generally, one thing we constantly hear from gig workers is, maybe I don't actually want to work for Uber, but I do want some benefits and stability. I think we're going to see some of those hybrid models development as government and industry kind of crash into each other. And that will tell us a lot about whether these companies are in fact sustainable, or they're just going to have to charge high enough prices so they don't make sense for consumers at all.
But Nilay, I think we've got our eye off the ball here a bit. We're talking about Amazon and Bessemer, sure, but Walmart has been fighting unionization for years, for decades, right? It's notorious for that. And there's a question of not just what happens in e-commerce warehouses, but what happens to warehouse workers overall, not just from a wage perspective and benefit perspective, but from a technology perspective as robots move in and eliminate these jobs entirely. And then this gig economy thing, the benefits, and it's not just about the gig economy. It's a question of when you've got an economy where workers need to be more flexible, what are the safety nets that they need in order to continue to provide for their families? This is a policy thing. I think we're focused too much on these technology companies. Change is coming one way or the other.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the fundamental question is, what kind of jobs are these? Are these middle-class jobs that let you move up in life and provide for your children, or are you being managed by a robot, and do you feel bad about yourself? And I think the Walmart comparison is pretty illuminating, right? The reason Walmart has staved this off for so long is people who work at Walmart all know each other. They're treated as humans. They have customer contact. Walmart has been able to create a bubble around its jobs that makes you feel like part of the company. There are lots of activists who think that is bad, but they have been successful in doing it. Amazon employees consistently feel dehumanized. You open the Amazon app, you push the button, something happens. Those warehouse employees are managed by robots. They're managed by software. They feel like the software doesn't care for them. They know that the executives at Amazon are getting richer and richer and richer, especially through the pandemic. That is all going to run into each other in a meaningful way. And the policy question is really, what kind of jobs do we want at that level of the economy? Do we want jobs that help people move up, or do we want jobs that people cycle in and out of while they try to do something else?
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.